Hello there, aspiring tennos. After one of the most difficult videos, or I should say most complex videos I've ever made, which was covering all of the damage in Warframe, I need some light-hearted fun. These are 3 starter builds that's gonna help you guys out a lot if you're just getting into the game. With these 3 builds, you're basically gonna be able to do everything. The Warframes we'll cover today is Mesa, Saryn and Wukong. Each build, or at least each element in each build, can only cost up to 10,000 endo, and we won't be using any insanely expensive items such as Arcane Energize, Guardian, Grace or Avenger. Though there is one slightly expensive item you'll need to get, but we'll get to that in a moment. Anyways, so if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers at the end of the year, and check out the Discord to level up your knowledge faster. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. The first victim on our list today is Mesa. Now, as you can see here, we are using some slightly niche mods. I say slightly because, well, you want to use these on most Warframes anyways. This is in particular really good on Mesa because her innate, her defense, her shatter shield here, it works with adaptation, and that works with shields, which can be built into something way more powerful later on once you have access to the helmet system. Pistol Lamp is pretty much exclusively for Mesa. Otherwise, these are basic mods that amplifies your full main stats, and this will allow you to cast your Peacemaker often and at a very low cost with a decent enough damage bonus. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like in game. Actually, first we need to take a look at Mesa's Regulators, which is her exalted weapon, her 4th ability. Now, this is the setup that I'm using here. This is decently cheap and it gets the job done. This will be able to handle most stuff, but you'll see that in a moment. Creeping Bullseye, because we don't really care too much about this, but also if you want to get a decently cheap upgrade for this build, if you end up maining Mesa, I will say that Arcane Velocity is really good for Mesa because of the attack speed. She does really well with that anyways, but until you get that, we're using this to offset the minus fire rate, because fire rate is very important on Mesa. Then we have some basic critical, we have a little bit of multi-shot and even more fire rate here, and then we just have some elemental mods, and that's basically all there is to that. So let's go ahead and take a look. You are currently watching Mesa in the index. I believe that is where she does the best. As you can see, she's very easily clearing it. Mesa can basically do everything in the game with this build, which is basically holding together on shoestrings, but that's just the reality of Mesa. She's quite powerful in that sense. She can do bounties and she can do open worlds very well. She can even do sorties on this budget build. However, don't take her on the steel path and expect some kind of success. You might want to look to my steel path starter pack for that instead. Anyways, let's move on to the next build. Now would probably be a good time to talk about our melee weapon choice here. And we're using this specifically because we're not using Arcane Energize, but we still want some energy. Hold on. There we go, much better. Now you can hear me loud and clear. So, pressure point base damage reads, because that's always nice to have. Critical damage, elemental damage, and an interesting one here is life strike, because we will exclusively be using heavy attacks on this. So this is just straight up lifesteal, pretty damn good. This for more heavy attack damage. We will pretty much just be heavy slam attacking all the time. I'll demonstrate that in the next clip with Saryn. More elemental damage, obviously. This is the slightly expensive part, not gonna lie, but it is very, very good for getting energy in the early game. I'm gonna assume for the Mesa build that you already have access to the energizing dash from the generic skill tree, the focus tree, but with this one, you don't need to have access to it immediately. You can get by without it, and then use this build to farm the focus in the Sanctuary Elite Onslaught in order to be able, well, to have access to it, as it is extremely useful early on. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the Saryn starter build. Here we are. The Seek, it doesn't have to be this one, but there is just not that many Neramon polarities. That's good for the Aura slot. As you can see here, a lot of the like 10 stars or 10 ranks, I guess, we've only leveled them up to rank 5. And you really don't need any more. That's plenty good enough. As you can see here, we don't really have any sort of defense here. If you want a little bit more of survivability, you can always replace continuity with what's called adaptation, which we used on the Mesa build. It's a really powerful defensive mod. Anyways, let's go ahead and see this build in action. I've decided to showcase Saryn in Sanctuary Elite Onslaught because I believe that he shines the brightest in there. However, if you want to use her in any other game mode which is mainly focused around killing hordes, which is, well, most of them, she's okay for something like Exterminate, but she's obviously a lot better at survival or defense, and these endless missions, even interception, she's actually pretty decent at. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to say. I already labeled her the best frame in the game several times. Not the strongest, not the one with the most potential, but she's definitely the best at killing hordes, and just look what she can do with basically no resources. Our final build here today is Wukong, and I built Wukong with two purposes in mind, and it's basically to cover exactly what none of the others have. This is generally a good all-around setup, and actually I would consider this as a good like starter setup. So this should possibly be the first build that you create. Now we have Celestial Stomp here, a little bit expensive. It does cost about 12 platinum. All right, you can make that quite quickly. I have 1,000 videos on how to do that. Not quite, but I have a lot. So as you can see here, Wukong is fast and he's very doable. He has a lot of armor with his third ability. He has incredible movement speed with his second ability. He has a passive that does not allow him to die, and he even has some damage multipliers through his first ability, and some CC with Celestial Stomp. For every mission which is not specifically open world, index, or about killing hordes, so I'm talking mobile defense, rescue, spy, sabotage, exterminate, capture, all of those miscellaneous missions, Wukong's really good for that. So he covers a lot of bases. Let's go ahead and take a look at what a run with Wukong looks like. I'm not even gonna say anything. The run will speak for itself. Alright, I lied. I am gonna talk over this clip because I've noticed a few whoopsies. Yes, I had pillets installed on Mesa, but I didn't use it. It's a pretty good idea to install it later on when you have a more complete build, but don't worry about it right now. Also, yes, I'm using the primed versions of the Warframes, not the normal versions. It doesn't make that big of a deal. We're talking maybe a little bit extra armor, shield or energy. That's the only difference. Primed weapons are very different for the most part from their counterparts, but primed Warframes and normal Warframes are basically the same. Anyways, I'm streaming over on Twitch and I'm trying to get affiliated. If you guys could head over there and give me a follow, I would appreciate it very much so. I know I'm chilling out a lot, but you know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.